There was some over here, I don't know what happened to
Pull it up on my.
Oh, I
Here,
think
we have
it
an
was-
agenda.
These
There you go.
are gone.
Yeah.
There's only one, and what I printed out.
Oh,
Oh,
Fritz?
Fritz has them.
oh, okay.
Fritz should have them.
She's printing the meeting.
Wait,
Oh, it's okay.
How's he
Yeah,
getting
I'll look
copies
at
without
one.
taking an original?
See, we were just talking about all the.
But this was Dave's.
I don't know, how did Rich just go out
I
and
can
make
just
some
copy
copies
them.
without taking the original?
Well, maybe he went to
Yeah, I
the
can just
Fritz.
copy down
well,
the-
take it off the wall.
the notes.
Florida bought a house.
Oh,
So
sorry,
just
you got it, you got
They
it.
were on the
So we
table,
want-
Yeah.
So we
Oh,
thought.
then
we had one.
No, I just printed one for me.
they were on the table.
You know, you guys sent me the email, I
Thank
printed
you,
out.
selfish.
Is that recording yet?
So do you guys have, have,
It's a good way to get everybody to be quiet.
so now I have to entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting?
We have 3 meetings, I think, that we are looking at meeting minutes for. That's what she was bringing us before she had to leave and go get the agenda.
There was January, February, or January, March, and then February. No, January and March of 16, and then February of 17.
So only 3 of us
Sorry, I
were
did
here.
not have February of 17. So do we have a motion to accept the minutes of January 2016?
I'd like to look at the
Make motion is.
I'd like to look at that.
Attached minutes?
You got that. We're typing it there.
I got it.
Those minutes?
These are
Oh, I'm sorry.
It only need 10, so I don't know if there's enough.
I have you under 2. Where's
That's
it?
nice.
Where's it?
It was a year and a half ago.
2016.
It did
Wow.
remind me of that.
So
It's just myself and Kevin and Maureen.
all right, so you 3 are going to confirm.
Well, I made a motion.
Yeah, we'll wait until.
Yep, those are okay. So I second Kevin's motion?
All in favor?
Yep.
All right.
We all have to sign.
The March 2016 minutes, I'll entertain a motion to accept those minutes. So first we have a motion and a second, and a discussion.
I'm just freezing through them.
No pen?
It's been so long since the LOC meeting, all my pens have dried up.
I'm okay with that one too.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept.
Oh, no, I'm all set with the minutes.
So
You
Maureen,
gotta sign it, Kevin.
I just need to borrow the minutes.
sorry, that was Lily. All in
I
favor?
second it.
Maureen made a motion, Tracy seconded, all in favor?
Kevin?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so those pass too. And then we are up to the February 2017. What is
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna need,
I think that might slide down that one, just want to make sure that it's there.
We have a motion.
I don't see February's here.
I do not have.
Oh, that's the one you said that you don't have. Yeah, so we can't approve
We
it.
were trying to fight.
Oh, okay, so those are tabled. Moving right along.
Kevin's gonna sign this one too. Kevin needs to sign that one. All 3 of us have signed this one. So, check box.
Am I making you nervous?
I just.
So tabling the minutes from February 23rd until we sign them.
Yeah, we can make sure I don't have them in my computer and do assignments or something like that. But I'm pretty sure it's.
All right, so we move on to agenda item number 3, citizens forum. Are there any citizens who want to make a comment, bring something to the attention of the committee? Probably none, we'll move right on to agenda item number 4, old business. We'll turn to Kevin.
We'll turn it, Kevin.
Rolling.
What's the old business? Because you're probably beyond.
The annual report.
Yeah. Yep, that's one of the things I have.
Is it, do we have one copy, all stapled, that we can just hand to?
We need to finalize that.
No, because we don't have Dean's section, we don't have the airport section.
So maybe we should redo it because it's kind of old now.
At this point here, I would suggest that we take these recently approved minutes and use them as an annual report for the last 12 months. Because those minutes just reflect what the committee did. But as far as the full, I think what we accomplished, I think can be maybe looked at further down to, but just for now, just to get one annual report out of the way.
What's the
Submit.
reporting
So
period for
just
the year?
the last couple minutes,
Well,
the three that we just talked about?
Yeah.
or-
We need to know the year, so is it the
it'll be,
fiscal year, the
a 20,
calendar
I think it was
2016.
2015.
No, there's two, we have two for 2016.
Right, so
Okay.
I think we just submit that as an annual report for 2016 and progress on from there. If it, like I said, I'll make a motion for the committee to consider that.
And second,
Okay,
before we
I'll
discuss
second
it. Kevin Moore, you made a motion, seems like a good idea. We only, there were only
Submit.
2 meetings,
Right.
so you put together the 2 sets of minutes. The minutes have been approved, so we'll call that the
2016.
annual report.
Right,
And then that's that.
2016.
And then, these on the fiscal year or calendar year? I mean, July through June, or,
There's no
I believe it's the
specific-
calendar.
Yeah, I can't
No, and there's no specific specs.
so we're all done, because it won't be another calendar year until the end of 2017. Congratulations!
We got our first annual report out.
We're rolling right along. All right, Kevin, any other old business?
What about 2015? Because seriously, didn't we start it during that? Isn't that what we had written things for?
What,
Let's start with 2016.
Yeah.
Move
Okay.
on.
because
I mean, I'm not trying to be difficult, I'm just wondering.
if you try to get too retroactive.
Okay.
Well, didn't you say that there was stuff that was missing that Dean had?
Yeah.
In the airport
And
had
that would
section,
have-
they were supposed to do.
And that would have been stuff, wouldn't that have been stuff from 15?
Right, exactly.
That's,
I mean, there's gonna be stuff that's just not gonna be available.
Yeah.
So let's entertain a motion to just start our annual reports with calendar year 2016.
if I might make a point, all that material that we created got submitted during a LOC meeting, so I'm sure someone
Yeah,
else is
and I-
part of the record.
I know, I have his copy, so it's not
So-
like they don't
right.
exist.
Right,
Okay.
and we can review that material later if we want to continue.
Yeah.
That project that Dean proposed was a very comprehensive project, but in no way, shape, or form was that the requirement of the condition 58. Condition 58 established an LOC, said that LOC shall take reports of activities at the landfill and bird count and all that stuff, and regularly report back to the board the conditions and concerns of the landfill. His project that he proposed was
Oh.
way beyond that.
Oh, okay.
Huge project, so it's not something
You mean
that,
for the report?
Correct.
didn't know what
I don't
project
feel
you're
you,
talking about. Okay.
I don't feel, and it's obviously up to the board, but I don't feel that you have to reconstruct all of that and do
Yeah,
that
because
again,
I
because
did
that's
like a
not
lot
what
of
was
research
required.
and stuff, and I didn't know if we needed to do that.
All it says is, and shall produce an annual, the committee shall meet on a quarterly basis or as needed, and shall produce an annual report to the board. So that report, I would assume, would be in
Just
January of
whatever-
last year,
whatever
this
is
came up,
described.
it was addressed this way, and almost a bulleted outline of this is what happened, And this is what we
Well, we just
discussed.
voted on it, and we said they were submitting the 2 sets of minutes and calling them an annual report, so now.
No, I was just worried about the continued conversation about the big project.
No, I appreciate you
It's,
clarifying.
it's good if you want to chase it, but it's not obligation.
Any other old business? Tracy, in review of the previous minutes, it reminded me of the gas bubble that we discussed.
Yeah.
Is that cleared up? Is it still under monitoring?
Well, yeah, we'll continue to monitor that for a very long time, years and years and years. Even though it, is static and there's no change, we'll continue to monitor it.
By static and no change, is the gas readings below
Yeah, they're static, yeah. We don't have anything above the reporting level.
All right,
About
that's-
tires. At one point, it was an issue. It seemed to me that it was resolving
haven't been
because you
here in a
put a
while.
policy, yeah.
Tires have been a topic of discussion at the regular meetings quite a bit, and I think Andy's got enough.
And they're also
board
A
tonight.
topic at the Conservation Commission, in fact, we have a sidewalk tomorrow dealing with that, so I would love some,
Capped. With
Hold
us,
on.
sidewalk where?
globe transmission.
Okay, so it's not related to this.
No, it doesn't, I'm just saying, I'm personally interested, because I would love to know, like, what we're doing.
Yeah, we were going to go to Andy and see, was there anything in particular that you
The,
summarize and say it's going to the full board or?
the Board of Health moved, there's been a enforcement or cooperative agreement between Casella and some of their suppliers, I'll call them suppliers, of the other MRFs and transfer stations. Casella has been cooperatively charging if one of the MRFs sent a trip number of tires to the landfill. It has been less than effective, I think even Tracy will agree with that.
To be able to collect those fees.
So, Casella came to me and asked, and this was what brought it to Board of Health, and asked, can the Board of Health assume the enforcement of that? Board of Health had a long discussion that started going into the legalities of this, legalities of that, so that's why it came to this board, just a real brief history. So I spoke to legal. Legal said we could not set fees based on revenues. A municipal fee has to be this much for this violation. We can, however, establish a per tire violation. We can set our own trip, recognizing that, there is human error and there's one or two are gonna get in here. The trip has been set at 26, 25
Over what period of time?
over 1 month period. Basically, that comes out to 1 tire per day from any given facility. I'm recognizing that that's a reasonable number.
And what's gonna happen to violators of that?
So
Wait,
Okay.
it's gonna be 20.
We'll be-
Sorry, I thought you were.
I would propose to this board to recommend to the Board of Health that we keep the trip number at 25, that we include banned loads. So not just tires, but CFCs, CRTs, any item that's on the 310 CMR 19 list of banned items would be one violation. We would be forgiving of up to 25 violations a month, because that would be 1 a day. But thereafter, we would levy a fine back to the first violation. I've had lengthy discussions with Casella on this. They think that it's a fair way to do it. I believe that we have permitting over the haulers that bring it to these facilities, so conceivably, we can suspend if they fail to pay the penalty. And keeping in mind that the goal is not to collect revenues, the goal is really identify critical point controls. If we can stop the tires from coming into the landfill, then we can cease worrying about burying tires by accident.
Right.
So my goal would be to control the critical point, which in my opinion is incoming tires.
Yeah.
So I believe the board can do it. I believe the board can do it. I talked to legal about it. I believe the monies can go into, you'll know that the original intent was to replace condition 19 and condition 20, which is the recycling, because recycling became almost impossible to track per town, and banned items. So it would replace those, any monies coming to the town, I believe, could be directed into the recycling efforts that the conditions said they should be going into.
We're gonna go to you, but before we go on, I just want to make sure we fully understand the recommendation that you're making. And it is the number 25 incidents of bringing in banned items of any sort over the period of 1 month on a rolling month basis. Like, so if within any set of 30 days you do it,
Would be
not
miserable to track that. We would go from the first of the month to the end of the month.
Okay,
And then
so
we'd start a new
in
period.
any calendar month, and is it per truck or per business establishment?
Per point of origin. So like, I don't want to throw a real name out there because he might not be a violator. So Pelletiers, Pelletiers Transfer Station in Dudley, because that happens to be where Pelletiers is located,
Okay.
sends 30 loads over a course of a month, and in that time, across all 30 of those loads, 42 tires were sent to the landfill.
Got it. So it's all measurable, and really I don't
I
know,
know.
but it's 25 per month for any banned item in any calendar month per point of origin.
From point of origin.
Is there any other specifics that anybody recognizes we need?
Yes, please, let me,
I will.
at the Board of Health meeting, when the ban item came up, I was the citizen who started to get into some of the details of it. And in that meeting, yourself as a Board of Health member said, we'll review this at LOC. However, in talking with Tracy after the meeting, she mentioned that Casella already has an approved waistband item detail approved through DEP, correct, Tracy?
Yep.
And I think why we're trying to reinvent the wheel, if that procedure is already approved, that we work off of that procedure
No,
as.
but I don't think that's not what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is we're trying to eliminate the tires, and also be able to find them at the same time, which Casella was unable to do, to be able to collect the money in doing that. So it's not really reinventing the wheel, it's trying to keep the tires out, but at the same time being able to punish them as well, which we weren't able to do before.
Because they monitor the situation, but they don't enforce it. They specifically asked this group before the town of Southbridge to enforce the requirements.
Well, enforce or fine, you want to
It's the
define
same
it.
thing.
Well,
It's the
No, it's the
same.
same thing.
It's the same thing.
If they don't pay the fine as a structure that the town sets, then they're gonna lose their hauler permit. So
So that's the only way that they can be punished.
Tracy, could you submit to the committee that section of the DEP approved banned waste items?
What
Because
section?
the specific section you said was approved, the waste banned item procedure, because I'm still
They can still
concerned.
bring it to us, but we can still take action on the recommendation that was brought forward to us because it's a reasonable step to enforce the conditions that will protect public health. So you can ask for it, but it isn't really relevant in this.
Well, my point is if there's a zero tolerance with the DEP approved procedure, then how can the town say, well, we'll let the first 25 go and it's okay? It's in violation of the DEP authority, which would say, we don't want the first tire to come.
Well, right now, we were still asking what his recommendation was. We can take a motion and a second to approve the recommendation and then have a discussion. And it sounds like you might want to say something like, instead of letting them get all the way up to 25, find them when they're at 1, which we've already heard isn't necessarily a reasonable expectation.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say, I think that, I I think that it's not a matter of the zero tolerance versus letting them get away with it. I think it's still a zero tolerance, but it's whether or not we can find them at a point. There's never gonna be zero, Kevin, I know. It's, in a perfect world, there would be zero, and I'm right there with you, I am. But at a certain point, we can't find them at zero, as much as we would like to. And I think that, they're only able to do, they have their rules according to DEP. But I think for us, in order, for the Board of Health to be able to set some kind of fine and to be able to enforce it, there has to be kind of some kind of, and I think that's kind of what the recommendation is going towards.
Right.
So we're gonna go, Maureen has something.
Well, yeah, I was just wondering, how did the number 25 violations come about?
Because it's one
Because-
every day in a month.
I'm asking Andy,
No, I know.
and a month is 31 days or 30 days.
Operating days.
So I'm just wondering, because, I read these things every month, and there's a lot of violations. Why are we giving them 25 passes now? They've already been violating these things. So it's kind of like,
Couple,
we're giving them 25 passes, and it's like, don't bring tires, you know that,
couple of
and then
points.
doing it again.
We affected the waistband plan that Kevin referred to is a waistband plan for our facility here in Southbridge. Casella doesn't have authority, not haulers.
All items,
Yes,
not just tires.
correct. And I said we're gonna expand this to all violation items. But Casella does not have any authority beyond the borders of their property. So when you ask, how can Casella let them bring it to us, their only authority is to say no more loads from you. So they have no authority to enforce beyond their borders. The Board of Health has full authority to enforce DEP regulation, any DEP regulation. That's what gives us the strength to say, you guys are done in Southbridge until you, to your point, 25 working days in a month, the landfill's open, short months, they last, long months, they're more, but it's 25 days. These trucks are loaded with a 10-yard front end loader, dumped into a 100-yard boxes, I believe. The odds that I am going to find every single violating item, and I don't know if you've seen the tipping floors where these things are dumped on, they are mountains of trash. So they take this thing and scoop. They do the best they can to pick out what they can. They scoop and drop it in there. If they get through a day without sending us a tire, I'm usually amazed because it's just a burden. Having said that, send me 3 tires in a day, I might start to get upset because you're not enacting your own plan. So Anna, myself, and the program that Casella was working on before, the voluntary program, which they adopted with discussions with Anna and I. And I believe I brought it to the board at that time, that that's what they were gonna do. We decided that one mistake a day was not a ridiculous human nature understanding. So that's where we ended up with the 25.
Okay, thank you for your clarification.
Tracy, maybe this will help me understand a little better. On the work phase, there is no, if a waistband item is spotted, it is pulled up,
That's correct.
correct? Regardless of 25 freebies, it's not as if, well, there's only one tire in that truck, we're gonna leave that tire.
That's correct.
So the
Anytime we
work
observe
fa-
waistband is separated and recycled.
So the work phase follows the zero
That's correct.
tolerance, all waistband items. So I'll say, thank you very much for the information. I'm glad it was brought back to the LOC and questions were asked.
Making this work and bringing it up then, and everybody else was settling the whole thing. When we have the Board of Health meeting, I will bring forward this recommendation, so long as we vote on it. And I understand we will recommend that the town institute a penalty fine for point of origin establishments that deliver 25 or more,
Greater than 25.
greater than 25,
If I could,
banned items.
do we have to
from-
get that detailed or just say that the board?
No, I think Andy's gonna have all that detail.
But I'm still supporting this, and I wanna make sure that we all understand that it's, they've got all these conditions, and the 25, greater than 25 per month, of any banned item over the course of a calendar month from any one point of origin. We recommend implementing a fine, according to what you said, and was that 100
100 per tire,
100 per.
per item, charged back to the first item.
The first one.
Just for clarification for the minutes, is all banned items, not just tires?
All
All
DEP banned items.
Okay.
And yes, the list of banned items is direct from 310 CMR 19.
Okay.
DP banned items in any calendar month from this point of origin, find them at the rate of $100 for every incident that occurred over the course of the month in question.
Yes.
It will be $100 per violation, with each item considered a single violation.
But that was
Yep. Nailed it.
a good sentence. All right. So all in favor of supporting that recommendation?
I agree.
Great. You did too, right?
Yeah. Did we need a motion and a second?
I don't think so.
At this point, since we all said,
Yeah.
I support
I don't think the Land Oversight Committee is set to do that.
I believe that is an advisory board.
It is.
It's an advisory.
You don't need to motion everything.
All right. Those are two old business items, we're rolling right along. Was there something
I
else that was
don't
open?
have any other old business.
New business?
No business? New business, Tracy, recently, today, in fact, I saw the article about some noise complaints. And
From what?
Just a quick question, and I know that's gonna probably be covered in our actual meeting. So I just don't know, is that, so I don't know.
We still talk about
Okay.
it because it invites
Right, well, I'm
others
just
to talk about it.
asking because I know that'll be in our regular meeting, so that's why I was just checking.
I was only gonna ask because there's a response action
There's a notice of non-compliance dated July 7th.
and we're going to be submitting action. AI action to correct the problem or address the,
We'll be responding to the notice of non-compliance.
oh, so there's no specific actions.
Well, there are specific actions, which I'm gonna go over in my update to the board, the specific things that DEP is asking us to respond to. But that's how it will be, we submit a plan or submit information.
So do you want to take this opportunity to speak to this group that represents the larger town, if the members were actually here, the airport commissioner and others? Because this is your form to get support, so that when you do go to the board, you can say, I discussed it with this committee. And give your recommendation, ask you to change things. And United Front.
Okay, I mean, I guess I can give you the same update that I'm gonna give the board. I have a legal document from DEP requiring me to respond. So I have to make sure that that's being done. So, like I said, it's a notice of non-compliance that DEP issued because odor complaints generated from the Southbridge landfill. That was dated on July 7th. So obviously, what that document means is DEP is taking odor very seriously, as are we, like we always have. I know that, I can't speak because I didn't make the submittal to the Board of Health, but I believe that Anna was submitting, or it was in the process of submitting, because we sat and had a meeting on it, everything that we do as part of our daily protocol of the landfill, plus some of the recent changes that we've made. So I'm not sure if the board has gotten that information or not as of this moment, but I know that that's what Anna was working on. So we've laid all that detail out, and obviously that'll be part of our response to DEP. So what DEP is requiring us to do within certain timeframes is they want us to submit documentation or information relating to an odor plan. You know, so obviously that plan would have a lot of general information, some specific information, and then information about the, you know, the components that we use for misters and sprayers to, you know, different fertilizers that we use. They also wanted us to include a timeline for some upgrades that we were already planning to do and had already been communicating with DEP about in regards to our gas system. And that really involves installation of new collectors, vertical collectors. So they would like us to formalize that in the plan. And then the last thing that they wanted us to do was submit a corrective action design plan, which is a specific DEP permitting process for putting in a permanent cap system in areas where we have temporary cap in place. So those are really the components that we'll be responding to the department on. And we have specific timeframes that we need to get that done. So meeting with Anna over the past few days, obviously Anna and I work together on odor every day that we're here. You know, we have a lot of days that we win and there's no odor complaints that come in, and we have a lot of days where a complaint comes in as well. So
I'm sorry, what was the third thing?
the corrective action design plan, CAD, CAD is what we call it. So we're going to be making sure that Anna and Andy, or whoever Andy Dees needs to review some of these submittals that we're going to be making to the department. You know, we have a 14-day deadline on some of them. We're 7 days in as of tomorrow, so we're not going to have a whole lot of review time, but it's a lot of basic information that the Board of Health is already aware of things that we're doing.
Could I ask that you keep the committee informed on as far as your odor plan and the CAD?
And I think we'll be doing that through the Board of Health.
Okay, so it'll be available to the committee?
Yep.
Okay.
Right, but you know, when we're talking about reviewing a draft plan, you know, that's it, it's a draft plan. It's not going to become final until it goes to DEP and is then approved by DEP.
All right.
So that was some of the new business. Was there any other new business that anybody wanted to bring up? Let's move on. We're up to the point where we schedule the next meeting. October.
Perfect.
Well, it would be great if we could go back to monthly.
At least till we get caught up.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least once a month.
Until
What are we
we
gonna
get
get
caught
caught
up.
up on because we didn't have much to fill up this agenda. Now, there's 2 months.
Well, like, you were just saying that you're in day 7 now of your 14-day deadline, so you could update us on that.
Or it's already going to.
Tell us about
Come
the
and go.
We don't have any authority over that.
No, I'm not saying we have authority, but don't we
No,
know
it's
how
gonna be
what
this,
it
it's
is?
gonna be the same information I'm gonna give to the board every month when I'm here. So I guess, you know, when I conceptualize a landfill oversight committee, and I've been involved in it since day one, I understand the mission statement that we put together and what the condition is set there for and dictates is that, you know, the Board of Health meetings are being completely tied up by landfill-only issues, and the board was struggling to be able to deal with the rest of the important issues in the community. So it was about being able to have the board decide, hey, this is, you know, this entire thing, we want to get into some more depth on that. We don't have time in our meetings. LOC, can you please take this on? So it's not about just, in my opinion, it's not about filling an agenda just to fill an agenda. It's about supporting the Board of Health and the topics that they feel they need more info on, but yet don't have the time themselves to do that. So that's my opinion.
In my opinion, I specifically avoided making any other suggestions on this agenda so that we can get through this first meeting since we've had such a, and I think it's a situation where we need to walk our way back into the situation of being, operating as an LOC. And that's one of my reasons for saying that I'd like to see a meeting.
What agenda items are you proposing for the next meeting?
Well,
Because we don't have.
we have a citizen member shortage. There's one more citizen member. We're still addressing
We're
the,
not gonna get a citizen just because we have a meeting, but I am listening.
okay.
If we have a meeting, we can mention it at town council.
There's also,
Do that.
there's also the situation of recent test wells coming up with higher than usual readings.
Yeah, Kevin, I get your passion on it, but again, it's supposed to be an advisory committee to the Board of Health. So I firmly believe our directive should be coming from the Board of Health. Our agenda should be filled by the board.
Our
I
agenda
agree,
should be
because we
filled
don't
by-
have any reason to meet except that it's really interesting to keep up on these things. And we only, yes, as Tracy said, the questions that the board wasn't able to handle coming back to us, or issues of importance that need some kind of response. The fact that we have nothing to talk about suggests that we don't need a meeting.
Well, as I said, I specifically avoided loading up the first agenda. As far as, but I'm a little set back by the idea that our agenda is not established by members. It's going to come directly from the Board of Health.
If you read the condition, the landfill oversight committee is supposed to meet in support of the board. So, you know, I don't understand, you know, how else we would get our directive other than what the Board of Health is asking us to look into.
Or if there was something that was of concern to you or bubbling up in the community, then we might meet. But the fact that you can't come up with an agenda item right now suggests that there isn't something important for us to be working on.
I would propose that there could be a potential compromise that works there. I would, the condition states that it should meet quarterly, which is every 3 months. That doesn't mean that situation can't come up